Hello, it's Clint Bussey again. This is a video to follow up my video about Charles Taze Russell and what he really believed about 1914. I've had some people ask, why am I defending Charles Taze Russell? And so I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. First of all, I'm not trying to put a spotlight on a man or a religion, because I really think that all men make mistakes in what they teach. We all change our minds about what we think as we learn, and nobody should really be looked at as the authority, especially an infallible authority, about anything, whether it be science or religion, life in general, whatever the subject may be. But I think that if Jehovah's Witnesses look at what Charles Taze Russell actually taught in contrast with what Jehovah's Witnesses teach today, they'll be able to see just how off the mark they have become, and just how ridiculous what they teach really is, how unreasonable it is. The biggest thing, the biggest and most important contrast I find is between Jehovah's Witnesses' view of Armageddon and Charles Taze Russell's view of Armageddon. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that at Armageddon, God, Jesus Christ, is going to come and make the elements, and like use weather and tornadoes and hailstones and fire, and he's going to kill the wicked, earthquakes, you name it. And he's going to kill the vast majority of mankind, because they teach that only a few will find the road to life. So, I think there's about 8 billion people on earth, and there's maybe 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses. So God's going to kill a lot of people. And that's just not reasonable. And it's not, they teach that God is love, but he can kill all of his children, just because they didn't receive the message brought to them by Jehovah's Witnesses, with them bringing their awakes and saying, here, read this. This is the latest Watchtower and Awake. Some of their sermons at the door were just not that great. I know, because I used to go out, and that's unreasonable to think that God would do that. Charles Taze Russell's view of Armageddon, however, was totally different. First, although he viewed it, as God's war, God wasn't going to directly fight in the war. Instead, it was more of a revolutionary war that men fought, kind of like the Revolutionary War here in America when we got our independence from Britain. It would be a war fought by all classes of men, and it would be to throw the powers that be off of them. Now, he did not teach that God would kill anybody. In fact, in his opinion, in his teaching, the Armageddon was not coming to destroy the wicked. It was coming to get rid of the power structure that existed, the religious and governmental power structure, so that God's kingdom could start ruling. And the kingdom was supposed to help mankind and uplift them and bring about peace and help mankind out. And he said that at that time Satan would be abysed for 1,000 years, and his influence wouldn't be here to mislead mankind, so that they would more readily accept the truth, and that they would accept it not through coercion, or because they're being threatened that if they didn't accept it they would be killed, but because he said they would gladly accept it because it would be a better way. It would be obvious it's the best way to live. If it is the truth, and God is all wise and all loving, then his way would be something we'd readily accept, because it would be the best way. So that's what he believed. It's much different, less judgmental more reasonable. So I think that if witnesses could see that, then they could see this stark contrast. See, because the main reason they are Jehovah's Witnesses still and follow the dictates of this religion so much is because of fear. They're afraid that God's going to kill them at Armageddon. They think that God really is that black and white. That, you know, one minute He can love you, and the minute that you slip into sin or into confusion or doubt, and that He could just kill you. And that's the end of it. Never going to see Him again. So that's just one teaching that I think that if witnesses were to learn about and see what Russell actually taught, it may help them to break away from what the governing body is teaching today. They may see that it is more reasonable. I in fact, that was the biggest reason I left Jehovah's Witnesses, is that one thought. God's going to kill that many people in Armageddon, yet He loves us. You know, to me that was no different than the Jehovah's Witnesses reasoning that a God of love couldn't burn people in hell forever. I thought, well, if He couldn't burn people in hell forever, how could He kill 8 billion of His own children, who He's allowed to be misled by Satan? I mean, you know, according to their teaching, He allowed Satan to continue on this earth, misleading people, walking about like a roaring lion. So He allows that, and then when we're misled by this tricky devil who you know, can lead people away from God, then He's just going to kill us. Don't buy that. And when I found out that Russell didn't buy it, I was like, wow, something's really wrong here. Maybe the light hasn't gotten brighter, as they say, that they don't listen to the old, you know, they don't read the old literature. That's old light, they say. Maybe the light has not gotten brighter, but has actually gotten dimmer in many respects. So if they could look at that and think about it, then, you know, maybe pointing them to some of the things in Russell's publication could help them to open their eyes to what's really happened. Another thing too, Russell went to the Congregational Church from a very young age, and one of the reasons he left his church is because they taught that God was going to destroy everybody but a few elect at Armageddon. So he actually left for the same reason that I left, and other witnesses left, and they're you know, some of us left because of that, you know, the teaching that God is just so unmerciful. So if they could see that even Russell himself possibly would leave Jehovah's Witnesses today if he was raised in it, they might really question things and really